in heaven sing. Jesus is the source of David and heir to his throne. If you find and follow Jesus, you will never be alone. He is the bright morning star. He is the God who's never far. The Spirit and the bride say, come. Let anyone who hears this say, come. Let anyone who is thirsty come, because the work of the cross is done. Drink freely from the water of life. The way and truth is Jesus Christ. He sent an angel to present this revelation to his servant John. The day of truth is about to dawn. The angels in a group of 7. He comes with the clouds of heaven. Comes with the clouds of heaven. This revelation to his servant John. The day of truth is about to dawn. The angels in a group of 7. He comes with the clouds of heaven. He comes with the clouds of heaven.
All right, welcome everyone. We're here live tonight. Good to be with you. It is Monday. Wow, what an amazing day for Monday. It has been crazy. Like, wow, unbelievable. All the stuff going on with Iran. So I know there's more to life than that, but you may be surprised what it has going and is going to be involved with you in your personal life. And certainly here at PGN. So don't just think it just means something over there, y'all. That's what most people think. Oh, that's just something over there. Ain't much going on over here. But you may be surprised. And we're going to try to explain all that in the near future, of course, so it can help relate to it a little bit. Hope you're all doing well tonight. We're going to be sharing different things with you. And yeah. Okay. Okay, give me a second here. I'm looking at some stuff and I'll be right there. I know I'm we're a little late tonight. We're here. Okay. What was that? Okay. All right, let's go here for a second and I'm going to check around on some things. Give me just a moment. All right. keep saying it. Give me a minute. I am working. Okay. Let's go here. All right, I'm doing a little bit of business. I will be right there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are working on a couple things here. I'm going to try to explain some things to you tonight, so I'm trying to get the information up where I can get it to you. Okay. And all right, here we go. Oh, my little thing kind of messed up on me there. I think we got it now. Okay, tonight we're going to be sharing with you some really cool things. Of course, we are right in the middle of a major prophetic word coming to pass. One of the biggest ones I think we've ever had. One of the biggest ones we've ever had. It's some really big ones. But this is really interesting what's happening right now. As most of you know, we have been speaking about this for quite a while. And some of you are probably like going, it's finally happening. Yeah, it's been happening, but it hasn't been in the news. And it's been in my news, but not in most of y'all's news that depend on the news, that news. And yes, we are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. At least it's showing up on my end. If it's not showing up on your end, please let me know. Daryl Paul just asked me if I was on YouTube, so I figured maybe there's a problem. Hopefully not. It looks like it's showing to be good. So hopefully it is. All right. All right. Uh, being a prophetic ministry, we talk about prophetic things a lot. So if you get too much of that, go somewhere else once in a while and get some other stuff. And I'm sure you do already. And, we'll kind of try to, work on all kinds of things. That's for sure. But yeah, we are literally talking about some really important things. And let me see if I can get this. I'm still working on what I want to get into here. Give me a moment. Okay. Come out from among them so you won't partake of their plagues. Okay. All right. So let's start. What's on your mind tonight? What is up? How are y'all? What is going on? And how are you doing for sure? Does anybody know how they're doing? Sometimes I don't know how I'm doing, and sometimes I do. So there you go. All right. Um, all right. So we're talking tonight about Revelations 18, and because we're like right into the global news, the prophetic global news. Revelations 18, and we'll talk about that a little bit. We talked about this a lot, but this is really starting to come into play, I believe. And so we're going to watch this happen. Revelations chapter 18, verse 4 and 5 said, I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out from among her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities, rendered her what belongs to her. All right. So when he says, come out from among her, my people, so once you come out from among them, let's say you're in the earth. Let's say you're in the earth. We're all in the earth, right? But let's just say we're in the earth. So you're in the earth, right? And the scripture, Revelations 18, is talking about come out from among her, talking about Babylon. What is Babylon? It's the system that we have right now. It's a system that we've had that has gotten worse. Like it says, has become uh, a den of devils. It hasn't been, but it has become, right? And and it talks about all the different things, the trading and all the different. That's talking about our system, right? The merchandise, the merchants of the earth will reap, verse 11, and mourn over her. Over her what? Over her system, the system that we're talking about, the one that you and I, go to the store and pay for things, and we've been talking about how Texas and the U.S. At least some of the U.S. is going to have its own system. So we have two different systems. Most people are not have a clue about that. But this is a pretty. We have other ones, but this is a very clear one to me. So you're in the earth. It's talking about Babylon. Babylon is where we buy and sell and trade, and we all do it. We all go down. It says. No one buys of her merchandise anymore. Merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones, pearls, fine linen, purple, silk, scarlet, every kind of wood, every kind of object of ivory, every object of most precious wood and bronze and iron and marble and cinnamon and incense and fragrant oils and frankincense, wine and oil and flour and wheat and cattle. It names everything. It's making it really plain that it's talking about uh, a system that we're in right now. It's no big deal. The system itself is not evil for a long time, and then all of a sudden it says has become a den of devils, a place of demons, right? A housing place. It has become a pretty bad place. Let me read it to you exactly for those that are brand new tonight. Um, he cried in a mighty loud voice, Babylon, Babylon has fallen and has become, verse 2 of chapter 18. This is very specifically talking about what we are part of and what's going on, right? And it's saying that has become a dwelling place of demons. And I really believe that. I think that's what's been happening little by little. The system's been being taken over. I've watched some pretty good documentaries on how that back when Trump was first running for president, how that one of the powerful DA was, talking and saying in this documentary that our system has. Let me see if I can quote it exactly. Here's the quote from a district attorney for the United States of America. a U.S. Attorney General. Sorry, uh, there is no functioning rule of law in this country anymore. There used to be a functioning rule of law. In other words, we go by the law. There is no functioning rule of law in this country. This was a person that was being considered at the time as a U.S. Attorney General for the United States of America, and of course, was in position. Very smart guy, and he was approaching someone and telling them, America has basically he's saying that the U.S. had fallen into this place of no rule of law in this country. This is him saying this. This is a documentary. In other words, it's saying that what we are talking about tonight, that uh, Revelations 18, which it says has become, kind of tells you what's going on with our system and what's happened. Now, it's happened little by little, and I'm not saying America's bad and evil. I'm not saying it has to do with it. It has to do with the system of law, the way we judge and rule. And I've told you guys some very, really crazy bad things that attorneys have told me to my face about someone, committing some sexual sins, that were just complete perversion. And I figured he would give me some good counsel about, how to handle it. And he said, just let him finish it up, Randy. It was talking about some incest stuff going on. Just let them finish it up, because if you try to stop it, it's going to ruin them. It'll destroy them, because the sexual realm. And I kind of like went, huh? And that was just one of many things that I've confronted personally, people in the legal realm, how they think in America. Now, obviously, not all of them do that, right? We know that not all of them are like that, for sure. But they're growing. It's becoming more predominant. You got the wheat and the tares, for sure, and the tares are the sons of the evil one, right? Who function in the evil system, and who, obviously are, messed up, to say the least, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. I hope you're able to hear me. Okay. Everybody able to hear me? All right. So when this guy who was talking in this, he was not saying it because he was mad or ugly or being weird. He actually literally said, because he's being confronted about dealing with some things under the law, and he was telling this guy that it's very important, man, that there is no functioning rule of law in this country anymore. And this was back in 2019, 2018, somewhere there. And so we see it happening. So what's the next thing? Well, we have another system. Because what it says here, come out from among that system, the system of that we've been a part of for so long, that it says come out from among her. Well, what are they going to do? You have to eat, you have to buy food, you have to have something. So what do we have? We have another system. So coming out of that system means that they had another system. And what system is that? Well, it's the one that we've been talking about, and the one that very few people have talked about. Not most people don't know about. I've been rebuked a lot by this one, and yet it's right here in front of us. The Texas gold and bullion depository and debit card situation. That's just one of many things. And then Trump passing laws concerning, called the Genius Act, that has to do with our second system. Right. So when it says in Revelations 18, come out from among her, talking about coming out from among the system, like I said, it names it very specifically. How it's talking about, uh, everything you buy. You go to a store and all the things that you buy. It talks about all those things, and that it's going to be overcome with demons. I mean, doesn't that make sense with what a lot of us have been saying, and with this U.S. Attorney General was saying in I think 2018, 2019, that confronting somebody saying, well, and this is a conservative, good man, and he said there is no functioning rule of law in this country. That was the exact words. And of course, we're trying to get it back. And in this documentary I'm watching, and watch it over and over again because it's so important, that they're trying to stop the evil people from overcoming our system because they're trying to do it. Right? It's very, very important to know that they are actually trying to take it over and have been for a long time. All right, hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so we've talked about this scripture many times before. We're talking about it more tonight because this is what I believe is very specifically happening, and we're going to witness it. And what's going on right now in Iran is a big part of it. Iran is entrenched our whole globe with uh, evil and trying to. We've just seen recently in the United States of America where they've been shutting off Muslim organizations from being able to buy things and take over, and because they're trying to take over, and so these people are evil people, and they've got some evil intent going on, and they could care less about what you think and what our government thinks. They come in and they have a process of how they do it. They're very smart. These are not dumb people. These are very smart people, right? And so we are literally talking tonight about how that the system is really being uh, you know there's a battle between the good and the evil on this whole thing, right? Okay, so we are mentioning the same scripture again because I want you to focus on what we're talking about. It that we have a second system here that says, come out of her what? Come out of that system is what he's talking about. Come out of Babylon. Babylon is a place where the system has been overcome with injustice and evil and wrong believing, antichrist type of thinking, and so we're coming out of that already. We've been coming out of it for a while, and it's kind of a process in a sense, uh, and we're going to watch it fall. Literally, and so we are not part of that system, right? We're not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to be a part of the system. Neither, hopefully, neither will you. So we're coming out of it, and doing what? Have nothing? Going to starve to death like most people say? No, we have a whole new system. Thank God for America and Texas and Donald Trump. And so you see where Trump is confronting a lot of things. Everybody thought when Trump comes in, we'll have peace and blessing. But sometimes you have to fight before you can get that. Right? We have to stop the evil, and to stop the evil, you have to go fight them one way or the other. And so there's many different ways to fight a battle in that realm. It's not just all with war, but strategies and that kind of thing. And plus, the word of the Lord does help. That's why they check in with me and see what I say. Pretty regular. What's he saying and what's he getting? And of course, we gave. One of the things that we warned them about, those who did not know about it, was that Iran was now going to be taken down as of May the 20th, 2024. 34 days before that, we brought it up. Uh, the word of the Lord I got a long time ago, and now it's time for it. And then when the helicopter went down, like I've shared this with me, some of you new people didn't understand this, but when the helicopter went down in Iran, it went down on the Azerbaijani, called East Azerbaijan in Iran, which we said, the regime's going to go down in Iran. I mean, in Azerbaijan, through Azerbaijan. Literally, when the helicopter went down with the regime president in it. So when I saw that, I knew that was the trigger, which I talked about last week. So that trigger has triggered everything that's going on right now. We literally physically said, if you listen to that show, that the Iranian regime is going down now, which is when you say that, people who are in the know just laugh at you. They're going like, there's no way that's going to happen. I mean, it's just too big. It's spread all over the place. It's a powerful regime, but it's when it comes time for God to go in and take it down, that's what he does. And of course, that's what we're literally physically seeing. I've been talking about it for a while now. I think most of you just like, you know, uh, so it's finally showing up in the news now. So most of you can get it. though I know that it's been going on pretty heavy for a few months, heavy for a few months, and it accelerated, of course, in the last few weeks. And now the news cycles are starting to get it and put it out there somewhat. But this is what's happening, and this is so big. It says the whole world mourns over Babylon falling. Now, I'm not saying Babylon is falling right now, but you're seeing, when you talk just about Iran, you're talking about riches of oil and a lot of things that Iran has. Iran is its goods. Let me just do a little Google on that real quick. Hang on a second here. Okay. The main goods that Iran has, of course, is natural gas, petrochemicals, of course, petroleum, also iron and steel, plastics, chemicals, agricultural goods like pistachios, saffron, and dates. Um, you know, and so we're looking at, that's just some of the things that they have. You can do a search on it yourself. Iron, fine, refined copper uh, are significant exports. Agricultural is watermelons, other fruits, nuts, imports, you know, uh, plastic, rubber, so industrial equipment and military items. UAVs are also a really big thing. And so this is kind of what we're seeing here. So when you read Revelations 18, you see that it's talking about some of those things. Of course, it doesn't mention, I don't think it doesn't really mention oil, right? Well, it mentions fragrant oil, wine and oil, and it does mention some of that stuff. But all right, so uh, this is the system. And so when it says, come out from among them, my people, so where are my people going to go? They're going to go to the new system. The new system is what we have been discussing here on PGN for a while and literally seeing it come to pass. Uh, the system has now been made law, and they're now trying to activate it as of this year, September 2026. If they don't do it before, um, it's already a done deal. At least then, and it could be done quicker. I hope. I don't know if it will or not, but anyway, okay. So Iran coming down is really, really, really a really big deal, and because we gave the word about it here on PGN, uh, you know, a good year and a half or more before it uh, is now manifested that it's happened. I've been knowing that it's been happening for quite a while, but now it's starting to manifest in the news and is becoming the news, the big news item, starting to. And so we're getting a lot of hits on that, believe it or not. And so it's really really cool. I know when I told you guys when I had the officer after I gave out the news on May the 20th and warned you guys, sent you a text saying please pray for me because this can get me in trouble talking about this, and it was hard to talk about because I knew I could possibly get rebuked for it or just. But what happened was, I don't know, a few weeks later, I got videos and documentation of the whole thing. They, you know, connected with me in uniform, and we sat down at the table and talked. Actually, I got pictures of it, I got videos of it. And what really made the guy mad at me, he kind of got a little bit. These guys are very businesslike. They want to talk about what they want to talk about, and all I would talk about with them because took control of the conversation. And he even says to me, he says, all you're talking about with me right now is the thing that's going on with Azerbaijan and Iran, that Iran is being taken down. He was like frustrated about it, like, like, okay, well, anything else you want to talk about? And I just kept talking about it, right, with this guy. And this guy is like known as a hero of, you know, fighting this very thing we're talking about, fighting Islam and fighting terrorism. It's one of the things that he's known for. And so I'm sitting there having a conversation. Just happened to see him at a place that I go and just happened to, be in line when I was, and just happened to, it was just so obvious what was going on. I'll talk more about that later. But the reason that I'm bringing this up tonight is because they have to be going like, oh my gosh, because he was mad at me because, or not mad, he was very frustrated with me because all I was talking about with him the whole time, this very important man, right, uh, in the agencies, and he, you know, told me, he's a very blunt person. Come at, this is all you're talking about. I said, yeah. I couldn't figure out why that's all I was talking about either. I couldn't shut up about it. And so, because I just warned you guys to pray for me lest I get, you know, busted by these guys. And they didn't bust me. They were not ugly or rude, but all I talked to them about was that, nothing else. And I had a lot to talk about with them. And he gets up kind of frustrated and said, okay, nice talking to you. And, and that was about it. And he was very, very frustrated with me. And so now you know what they have to be talking about. They have to all be talking about, because he probably went back and he told all the other guys, all he talked about was, this Iran being taken down through Azerbaijan and blah 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 and on and on. And it was true. So now look what's happening. That's being spread everywhere because what's going on in the news, the shock to everybody that Iran is not just being threatened, like we've been threatening them for a long time. No, it's literally going down, literally. So around the officers and the crew and all whoever it is in this agency is that they got to be going. I don't know. I haven't talked to them. They got to be going like, man, this guy was like talking about. Look at it now. It's been several months later, but you know it's happening. It's actually happening. And unbelief that I don't know if they actually they haven't talked about it. They're going like, oh my god. So this, and then plus the thing that I had going with the lady that approached me after the guy with the suit on, the regular suit on, showed me his badge, and then she comes up to me. I told you guys about this a few times, but I want to show you how God works and how He does things to get things stirred up and to pass the word around. It is really funny when you think about it. And so, when she had that little experience to where, and I do not know what agency she was from. I know that they were from some agency because of the badge, but she never showed me any of her documentation or any proof. I didn't ask her. I didn't even know she was going to approach me. She just walked up and started saying, well, if it isn't the notorious, and then that's all she got out of her mouth when she freaked out right in front of me. And I mean, really freaked out. And so, that also had to be being talked about right now because, uh, that was whatever they came there to do. I don't know exactly what they were there for, but whatever it was, God obviously knew that they were coming. I didn't. Uh, God obviously knew that they were going to be doing something either evil or wrong or something. My angel or God, the Holy Spirit, whatever you're going to say, intervened in the whole thing and stopped them and shut their mouth, literally shut their mouth, like shutting the mouth of the lion. This woman, I don't know who she was. She was obviously going to do something really bad. So now that is being spread around. Plus the thing that went on before that, when in May or June of 2024, when that happened with him, and all I could talk about was what's happening right now, and they just going like, hey, you anything else to talk about? Don't you want to? And and when you get in the prophetic realm, friends, sometimes you open your mouth, you start talking about stuff, you can't shut up. It happens to me here on the show sometimes. I start talking about something, and then I can't shut up about it. Why? Because there's something going on with it, right? Because that's my job. That's what I do. I live for this, and it lives for me. We live together. We dwell together. And so, right now, as Trump has a huge influx of I mean, let me get to the words. Let me get to you exactly right. One second here. Okay, Trump is sending, military assets to the Middle East. As Trump says that Iran is out of control, Trump deploys U.S. warships to Middle East as tensions rise, to say the least. Trump's nuclear warships, biggest C-17 military aircraft. Um, I mean, this thing is stirred up, y'all. It is really, really stirred up. Military assets moving to the Middle East as Trump weighs Iran and finding them wanting for sure. I'm just reading you some of the headlines thing. Pentagon expected to surge assets to Middle East. ABC News. U.S. sending military assets to Middle East as Trump weighs. Again, same news. U.S. considers carrier deployment amid Iran tensions, which has already been done. Really, the carrier's already been sent. And so what are they getting ready for? Oh, this is no big deal, Chandler. It's not a big deal. It's just another thing happening. No, not this one. This one here is huge. So, um, and then once it's taken care of, which you know, hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see what goes on. I don't know how it's going to escalate. I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but we know it's going to be big. It's really, really big. Plus, we prophesied about it here, over a year and a half ago, specifically that Iran would be taken down through Azerbaijan. That was a trigger point, and so now the regime will be taken down. And so, not the people of Iran, but the regime. Okay, to make that really, really clear, we're not against the people. Before the people, but that's kind of what's going on. So we're watching the tumbling of a major system going on here, and not only do they do that, but they deal with terrorism. The main thing that they deal with in all their riches and all their money with oil and all the money that they make through prostitution, you name it, uh, they are they're doing it to the reason that they're not taking care of their people, which is part of the problem, is because they're trying to do well. Listen, y'all going to starve maybe a little bit, but what we're doing is we're taking over the world. We're going to take over Texas. We're going to take over the U.S. We're going to take over New York. We're going to take over the world. And so just chill out. Well, the people don't want to chill out. They're sick and tired of it. And so, you know, Mossad is being used in the whole thing, and it's really becoming a major, major operation here. So this is kind of what's happening. All right, so um, we're looking at some different things. I want to share some information with you here. All right, so I want to kind of document some things here. Uh, we're looking at who's going to get credit for this because it's going to go down. So why does it matter who gets credit ready as long as they get taken down? Well, it's a bigger operation than what you think. The big operation part of it is that who gets the credit for it, right? Because the the agencies or the groups that get credit for taking Iran down, everybody knows how big this is except the common people. They're the only ones who really don't know how big this is, and they'll soon find out because they're busy taking care of their business, trying to live their world, trying to be a good Muslim or be a good Christian, be a good whatever. Most people are not aware of how huge that Iran is, and so who gets the credit for this is going to set up uh, the Antichrist situation, which is going to be Nathaniel Rothschild and Mossad. Mossad is really the agents that are in Iran. Probably the CIA are probably there too. I'm not saying the CIA are not there working. They've been there before. But what we're looking at here is, Mossad, and so it's important that Mossad gets what is it's deserved of, and that is the credit for undermining Iran for many years. And then when everybody sees how big it is, they're going to see how big Mossad is, how powerful Mossad is, which is a Rothschild organization, began in 1949. And we believe that Victor Rothschild, though we have no documented proof of all of it, but Victor Rothschild was very heavily involved in it because he was the best intelligence agent known of even the U.S. president. Harry Truman said that Victor Rothschild was the greatest, most powerful uh, agent and had knowledge of agency and counterterrorism and the whole thing. He was decorated as the best, a Rothschild. So that this is all happening in 1947, 1946, 47, 48, and 49. It's right there. And then Mossad began when in 1949. Just look it up. October, I think it was December the 13th. Yeah, December the 13th. Yeah, in 1949. So that's Mossad. So who gets credit for this is going to be the Rothschilds. And not that they want to spread some of the credit around because they all do work together. But the big thing here is that for the next phase, for when the peace comes in from Tehran, it's going to bring peace in a lot of places because they're not going to have money from Iran to feed them, and so they can be a pain. They're going to dry up. If you go to the root of the tree, you axe the root, and then all the other terror agencies just dry up because Tehran has been the ones who wanted to take over the world and literally have been doing that physically. Now it's tumbling. Now it's falling. And so as we see this Iran thing unfold, you're going to see how big it is because mainly it's about the Rothschilds and about Mossad uh, showing how big they are, how powerful they are, how strategic they are, how intelligent they are, and all that. And they are. They're very, very powerful people. They're not perfect, but they're very, very powerful people. And the Rothschilds are the ones who, and Rothschilds not the only one, but they're the main ones because of Victor Rothschild that began this organization. So you can see here what's really happening behind the scenes is we have the Antichrist raising up his head, saying, we did this thanks to the United States of America and Donald Trump, thanks to all these people, but we did this. We headed this thing up and we won this. And so, and I've seen actual articles where it's literally saying that. How entrenched is Mossad in Iran? Very. And that's not just me saying this. This is the people saying it, the news people, the people who are in the know. So this is the reason this is so strategic prophetically for Revelations 18 and other scripture is because of the role that it's playing in who's taking down Iran takes down the octopus, as they call it, or the head of evil right now, which is what Iran represents, and the fact that it's being taken down, and it's been many, many years in play. Who's been doing that? The Rothschilds in Mossad. So you can see Mossad bringing peace to the Middle East with the help of others. So they can build, they got the temple ready to build. Who's going to be in the temple? Mossad or the Rothschilds, right? Because everybody's going to know we took down Iran. Thank God for Trump and thank God for all those. They helped out a lot, and much blessings to you. We'll work together on some of it. But they headed up the operation and have been processing, taking out a lot of terrorists one at a time. Because it takes time to find them and find a way to take them out. And they've been doing this. So what is this spelling out? The manifestation of the Antichrist or the shepherds, the Messiah of Israel. That's what all this is doing. That's why it's so big, right? Who could do this but the Rothschild or Mossad, working together with other organizations, of course. But they've been rooted and entrenched in this for a long time. And nobody has really, the people, the general people just don't really understand how entrenched that Iran is in the globe. Okay, and so we're going to find out real soon. And that's why this is so big, and that's what we're talking about a lot. Because I want to inform you. Okay, so that's what's happening. This is why this is the main news. It's about to be the main news. And when it comes down, and whatever the battle is that takes it down, finishes up, like Trump, whether Trump bombs anybody or not, it'll be either way. The Rothschilds or the Mossad operation is going to be the one who did it, because Iran collapses internally because of the Mossads. Right? They're gonna collapse. The system is going to collapse because Mossad operations from within, and they're going to get the credit for that. So this positions Israel to now change from being a democracy, which is what will have to happen, because the Rothschilds are not going to be, they're not going to be voting them in necessarily. The people are going to love them, because they're going to realize, look what they did in Iran, look what they did for us. And they kind of already know about Mossad. Mossad's pretty well known. But the impact that the globe doesn't know about them in this major scene that is bursting and about to inflame every media in the world is going to be all about the Rothschilds or the Mossad, shepherding. And they've done a great job, a really, really great job of doing this. And they're going to get the credit for it. And how they work with other people and everything. It's not just about how powerful you are, but it's how you work with other people. And but they've been doing this for a long time. And as it comes forth, the people are going to go like, wow, and they'll easily decide to go with the Rothschilds. And I don't know how that Netanyahu will be dealt with. I'm sure very kindly. He's done a very good job of what he's been doing. He's a real wolf. He's a real Benjaminite. His name is Benjamin Netanyahu. So he's going to get a lot of credit for what he's done. And so, but he will pass away. Netanyahu will pass away, as far as his, here I'm using that word pass away, kind of scary to talk about it, but he will pass. He's getting older. He's like 76 years old, still very sharp. Seems like he's very sharp. Seems like he's very healthy, but I don't know. But he has a lot of trouble around, a lot of pressure around him to bow out. And so you can see the process kind of happening where, Netanyahu been doing a great job. I don't know how they're going to deal with him, but somehow they're going to they're not no longer have a democracy. They're going to have a kingdom with a king, and his name's going to be Nathaniel Rothschild. And Israel and the world will gladly say yes and amen, because the whole world knows about Messiah, right? And then when it's revealed, like I'm revealing already, the Rothschilds behind it all, then Nathaniel's going to be an easy hit for being the guy. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why this is so big, and that's why God gave it to me, because He has connected me, as you know, to the name of the Antichrist back in 2007, 2008, somewhere, maybe 2006. Gave me the name of the Antichrist, wrote it up before me in the middle of the night. Give me the initials with the Rothschild last name. Ended up being Nathaniel. Like I went, never heard of the guy. I'd heard of the Rothschild, but never him. And so this has been very amazing. And so with Netanyahu asking Trump to wait, Trump was getting ready to, do some, or appeared to do some major, attack on Iran, and Netanyahu asked Trump to wait. So he's coordinating with Mossad to ensure that the job is done right, because Mossad is the only one who really knows what's going on and when something is ready to be taken over. Because right now they're at a very, very delicate time, and Mossad has been watching very closely the operation of Iran, and they know exactly where it's all at. So they, through Netanyahu, Mossad, somehow or another, communicated to Trump and said, let's wait. So they stopped everything, or at least the appearance of stopping everything. Might have been a strategy, a very good strategy, by the way. Why all the regional allies together were preventing the U.S. action? That's what happened. They are facilitating internal collapse. That's what they're working on. They don't want it to be just a bombing effort. They want it to be the collapse. So the collapse, and Mossad is the only one that really knows, the Rothschilds are the only one that really knows how to do that, because they're on the inside of the inside, right? And they even talk about it, right? It's a well-known thing. So all the regional allies told Trump, along with Netanyahu. Don't do any action right now. Wait till later. So Trump starts sending assets uh, to Iran, and he's allowing Mossad to work even a little more. Mossad is the one who's actually bringing it down, and Trump is helping a lot. Working together is amazing. But Mossad is actually, Mossad is leading it. That's the way to say this. Mossad is leading this operation, and through Netanyahu. All right, so uh, it's going to be really, really interesting because you have a Gentile named Trump. A lot of people call Trump Cyrus. That's a good name for him. I remember one of the prophets talked about that all the time. It's really, really, really good information. Um, and so Trump's going to temporarily get some credit out of this. And the Jews are going to say, because this is more about the Middle East than it is about the United States. This whole thing with Iran is about the Middle East. And who's supposed to rule over the Middle East? Yeah, the Rothschilds and Mossad, which they already have in a intelligence agency who know every weakness of every country, every strength, pretty well knows everything about most countries, the big ones. And so anyway, uh, this position is going to position Nathaniel as the undisputed shepherd because of the narrative becomes the Rothschild family through Mossad delivered Iran's fall, right? Just as they protected Israel for 75 years, and they have. Of course, Nathaniel should lead us. No one can say America saved us. Instead, our own shepherds saved us. Now, America helped, right? But no one's going to be able to take credit for saving Israel other than the Messiah to be of Israel, which is Nathaniel Rothschild. This prophetic strategic analysis at the highest levels, what we have been talking about. We're the only ones who are specifically talking about this in detail and who have prophesied about it, about the doom of Iran regime on May the 20th, 2024. Specifically, the regime would now come down. The trigger was the helicopter going down with the Iranian president in it, and Mossad had everything to do with that too, though they will never be able to admit it, but they did. And we said that publicly. All right, in case you don't know about that. All right. Yeah. Okay. So very interesting. I think I explained that pretty well as far as the way that I think that maybe we can help you understand what is actually happening and why it's important to understand it is because of the biblical place of the Messiah. Hang on a second. All right, Second Thessalonians 2, verse 4 describes the man of lawlessness is what they're going to call him. Now he's going to be a real hero. Uh, the only one that could take it down and have been working on taking down terrorism and Israel's enemies has been Mossad or Nathaniel or the Rothschild family, and of course others. They all work together, but who will oppose God by exalting himself and claiming divinity within God's temple. And also in John 2, that believers of the church, so we are the, hang on a second here. I don't want to do this. Describe someone exalt. Okay, Second Thessalonians 2, verse 4, about the Antichrist, who are really, the Jewish people don't like you talking about their Messiah being the Antichrist, but they're kind of used to it to a certain degree, but they really don't, it's really offensive. But so I'm calling him their Messiah, and although he's not, we already have the Messiah, Jesus. But Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4 describes someone who exalts himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped. We don't know exactly how he's going to say it, that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. And when he does that, of course, the Jewish Sanhedrin and leadership are going to rent their garments and say blasphemer, right? Hang on a second. All right. Yeah, it'll be something like what happened with Jesus. Someone who claims to be the Messiah but doesn't fulfill messianic prophecies or makes divine claims can be seen as a false Messiah. And so that's what they're going to do. They're going to rent their garments and uh, call him a blasphemer, um, right? Okay, so anybody considers himself equal to God in the Jewish realm, even not good, and that's what he's going to do. So, all right, there's so much to talk about with that, but we'll get into that later. All right. Okay. 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 I'm trying to look at this here. Uh, says that the Sanhedrin would, the high court of 71 judges in Jerusalem, would be the ones who would judge, uh, Nathaniel as being a false Messiah or a false prophet or a blasphemer. Uh, the charge of blasphemy historically was applied when a claimant asserted divine status, like Jesus did. This is seen in New Testament accounts where Sanhedrin accused Jesus of blaspheming, not for claiming to be the Messiah, but for claiming equality with or a seat at the right hand of God, right? And so that's where all this stuff starts happening. And so when they do that, of course, we're going to have all hell's going to break loose. And so that's where we're headed, y'all. Like it or not, love it or not, believe it or not, that's where we're headed. That's what's going on. And so it's kind of hard to see that sometimes, but we've been talking about it very specifically for quite a while. And so now most of you should be able to understand that a little bit pretty clear. Um, so that's our job, is to try to tell you what's happening right now, right, and in the future. All right, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so anybody got any questions? Anybody got anything they want to say? They want to talk about? We have give you an opportunity to share about this. Right now, we're kind of in a waiting time for Trump's all his ships and stuff to show up. He's sending, you know, assets over there, like, I forget what the name of the ship is that he's sending, but Yeah, you have uh, the exiled crown prince of uh, Iran, the one we were talking about, the one they're going to look like it's going to take over the transition. He's getting on the news and he's talking about how he's going to handle Iran. This is all really, really interesting stuff that's going on. And, so also, um, they took over. Just one of the cool things that they did the last few days was that somehow they got into the networks, television networks system and bugged it and uh, overtook it. It's so funny. He overtook the system where Iranians watch TV and they put a speech in there by the crown prince. So it's just like kind of wild and crazy, man. They are saying that, this is it's just unbelievable that this is happening. I mean, they're breaking in, just like you see on some of these movies where they break in and they start having, some anti group or whatever it is against the system and getting on their networks and talking and preaching to the people. And then all of a sudden, they stop them. So it's pretty interesting what's happening right now. They are fighting back. They've been killing a lot of people. It's really sad. They're hoping that Trump will hurry up and show up over there and move and do some things. We'll see what goes on. But one of the main things that is working is that Mossad is down on the ground. They've been on the ground in Tehran and Iran for years. It's been a long process, and a lot of people have died over it. Now we have more people dying than ever. But the Iran protests are really big, and they've killed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. So it is horrific. The labor pains with this are big, but so are the results going to be absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, so if you have any questions about that or want to talk about it, maybe you don't want to really know what to say, or you want to talk about something else, then let me know and we can visit about those things. Uh, okay, Trump is calling for a new leader. That means regime change. They've been wrestling when we brought it out into the open in May of 2024. You watched the network at all. They started wrestling back and forth and interviewing Trump. Saying, "Are you trying to go in there and do a regime change?" Oh no, 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 we're not thinking about that. But it would be a good idea. They would say stuff like that because I knew, like, good job, Trumpy. Act like you're not doing. Did the same thing with Benjamin Netanyahu. Are y'all going in there trying to do a regime change? No, Israel has nothing to do with it. But I forget what they would say, but something like it was a really good idea if they did. And they had that's the plan the whole time. It was the plan the whole time, but they couldn't publicly talk about it. We did, here on PGN. And so that's what's been really big because nobody wants to take credit for it, of course, till now. And that's why the whole credit thing is going to be really big, not just because who's the big boys, but who the Messiah for Israel is going to be, the protector of Israel is going to be Rothschild slash Mossad. Okay, and we did a whole show on Victor Rothschild and how that he was in the 1946, 47, 48 was known Harry Truman called him the greatest uh, intelligence agent in the world at that time. Let me get it for you. Here it is right here. Nathaniel Mayer Victor Rothschild. This is not our Nathaniel. This is what his name was. This is what's so amazing about this whole thing, young, is that Victor Rothschild's real name is Nathaniel. Got to think about this. His name is Nathaniel. Nathaniel Mayer Victor Rothschild, born in 1910, died in 1990. He was a wartime officer. Died in 1990, not that far, not that long ago. Some of you weren't even born then, but I was. He was a wartime officer for the UK Security Service, MI5, and he was recruited in early 1939 and remained. This is the Rothschild Archive. Uh, he was the Department of Zoology, 2025, with the outbreak of the Second World War in 1939. Rothschild was recruited to MI5. I've been calling it M15 for a while, but this is what it looks like. It's just MI5 as an advisor on scientific matters, and he served MI5 wartime as the head counter sabotage. Right, you got to watch this. Victor Rothschild served as MI5 wartime head of counter sabotage and was described by Harry Truman as one of the world's greatest experts in counter espionage. You got to realize that counter espionage. This is everything, and when you do search on it, you see that. You'll see that. Okay, Shannon's saying this. The name Victor comes from Latin and means winner or conqueror, symbolizing strength, success, triumph. Yes, very good, Jen. Great job on that. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. Now, Victor means, okay, so I'm reading the information right now about that. I'm really cool for that. And I did a search on everything that Victor Rothschild was known for back in 1930 to 1940, 1930, 1939 to 1949. In 10 years where MI5 advisor on doing matters, then became the head of counter sabotage and was described as one of the world's greatest experts in counter espionage. Oh, they're not head of Mossad. They didn't make Mossad. Yeah, they did. You do research on Mossad and what they do is it tells you what Victor's work involved, right? What Victor did. He was counter sabotage operations. His primary role was counter sabotage operations, understanding intelligence networks and agent handling. Listen to this. Knowledge of how to establish covert operations, experience with the various systems of double cross counter espionage, right? Uh, and so they didn't start Mossad? Yeah, they did. Because he was doing this from Mossad was started in 1949, December 13th, 1949. Is when it was started in Israel. And they call it Israel Agency. But Victor Rothschild, who's known as the greatest expert in counter espionage, you know, they put it all together. They have help. Of course they had help. Yeah, absolutely. But Victor Rothschild's grandfather was the grandfather, Jacob Rothschild, the father of the Nathaniel Trump. The one we're saying is going to be the Messiah for Israel, or the false Christ, the false Messiah. His grandfather was Victor Rothschild, died in 1990. Jacob Rothschild, father who died in 2022. Now, Nathaniel Philip Victor James Rothschild, the fifth Baron, who's the one I'm talking about, who's about 50, 56 years old right now, he is now to run the family, right? He's the current holder of the title, Nathaniel Rothschild, fifth Baron Rothschild, who inherited the barony in February 2024. Yeah, so that's 2023. Yeah. So does Mossad do the same things? Yeah, Mossad engages in all activities listed, but counter-sabotage is not his primary role. His primary responsibilities are for intelligence gathering, covert actions, including sabotage and uh, paramilitary operations, and counterterrorism outside of his border. Right? Here's a breakdown of the activities. Counter-sabotage operations. Mossad does conduct sabotage and counter-sabotage efforts particularly against the nuclear programs and military infrastructure of a hostile nation like Iran. The counter-sabotage is what they use to fight the nuclear program, uh, you know, taking care of that, which they've done. They've been involved in all that. That's Mossad. Is exactly what Victor Rothschild was. The primary responsibility for internal counter espionage security within Israel belongs to Shin Bet, Internal Security Agency, because that's the internal right to take care of. Shin that, SHINBE, is the internal security agency for Israel, not Mossad. Just keep that clear. Right? Mossad does everything outside. In other words, the rest of the globe. They take care of intelligence agency activity for everything outside of Israel. Right? Understanding intelligence networks and agent handling. This is a core function of Mossad's collections department, its largest division, which is, you know, responsible for foreign espionage and managing a vast network of agents and informants, human intelligence or HUMINT, HUMINT, globally, knowledge of how to establish covert operations. Assad is renowned for its sophisticated and highly secretive covert assassination, capturing war criminals like Adolf Eichmann. They did that. They've done so much, man. These people are truly amazing. And the clandestine movement of Jewish refugees from hostile countries. They help the Jews come from hostile countries back to Israel. These people have laid down their lives. I mean, for the Jewish people, it's amazing. It's just sad. The ending is sad for them. The Special Operations Division, uh, Metzada, is specifically tasked with these activities, right? People who are being persecuted before they can be saved. Yeah. Experience with systems like double cross counter espionage. The infrastructure is all specific. Operation methods are highly classified. The nature of Mossad's work in counterterrorism, deception, and intelligence gathering implies a deep understanding and utilization of sophisticated counter espionage techniques and infrastructure. Uh, the Lola psychology, LAP, handles psychological warfare and deception operations. In summary, function described align closely with the known responsibilities operational history of Mossad, which operates directly to the Prime Minister of Israel, reports directly to the Prime Minister. And that's why when Trump was getting ready to hit Iran with some bombs, Mossad told Israel, or met no, the Prime Minister, we're not ready for this. This is not to be moved or whatever, or we'll do something different. So, basically are instructing the U.S. how to attack and how to come and how to help them. But they know the inside operation to help them finish it off. All right. Office and MI5 officers specialized in counter sabotage and bomb disposal. One notable incident involved with defusing a German booby trap bomb hidden in the shipment of onions with a set of jeweler's screwdrivers. Yeah, for that. There's so much stuff here, man. I got stuff. I've got so much information on this. Uh, yeah, there's just so much. It's all just it's pretty easy to tell that Rothschild are the voice for this operation because there's nobody else that can do it. They've already been doing it. They're not going to start doing it. They've been doing it, and they have supported Israel. So they're the choice. There's not even any option for anybody else. Right? They're the ones. Israel has been so backstabbed and so fought and come against that they just they don't trust anybody. And you can't blame them, right? Yeah, you can't blame them. They don't trust anybody, and you can't blame them. That's the thing about it. Okay, so that's what's happening. All right, all right. If there's no questions, any more questions tonight? It's only 9:21. But if you don't have anything to ask me about tonight, I will call it a night. We will call it. It's Monday night. So pray for Iran. Pray for Mossad. Pray for Mossad that Mossad will do the great work that they do in taking down the evil people. They take down the evil people, and their strategies are mind-boggling and amazing to say the least. So they're going to make Israel a great Messiah, but the problem is when when he calls himself God or however he says it, they're not going to like it, and then the stuff is going to hit the fan, and the great tribulation is going to kick in big time. So that's just it. And then Persia, which is part of the Ezekiel 38, 39, they're part of the crew that comes against Israel. Why would they come against them with their friends? But they become unfriended because once the Messiah is rejected because he calls himself God or whatever, however he does it, is going to cause the world to go, you bunch of rebellious little wimps, whatever they're going to call Israel, just yeah, and they're going to come against Israel, right? It makes sense, right? It's really pretty easy to understand, actually. All right, so yeah, if that's it, if nobody else has anything to share or talk about tonight, we will call it a night. We have a new song. We've been playing a new song. I probably won't play that tonight, but I'm writing some. I'm writing songs right now too. So it's very good. Plus, we're doing books. You guys should have your. If you haven't received your, yeah, hang on a second. Right. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay. If you haven't received your giving statement yet, let me know. You should have it in your email. And if it's not right, let me know. Uh, I do tend to leave out stuff sometimes. It's it can happen. So just let me know. Just respond back. I have one person respond back, and I already fixed it. Uh, I know Julie used to put a note out there. If you have any questions about it, let me know because sometimes you might miss, something here and there, and so it's part of the thing. So let us know if you received it, and if it's all good and all right with you. If it's not, let me know. We'll work on it together. All right. So, all right. Nobody has any questions. Nobody has any answers. Nobody's has anything tonight for tonight. So that's okay. We will call it a night tonight here in a little bit if nobody responds. Okay. All right. I guess we could play a song, give people a chance to find it. Um, okay, let's do this song here. All right, let's play this song from Angela from South Carolina. Wrote this song. Thank you, Angela, for this. Let's play this song right now.
Walking this road we call life. No one ever really walks alone, but we all have a path to choose. Whether it's right or it's wrong, eventually we all find our way home. I started this path some time ago. Sometimes high, sometimes low. Sometimes not knowing which way to go. But I thank you, God, for the rain. Helps me to appreciate the sunshine. When I feel I've lost my way, you let me know that you're still mine. And when I'm not feeling okay, you reassure me things are just fine. And I thank you for the rain. Shadows, dark clouds hover around. I wondered if I'd be lost or found. This old road seems so dark now. So many tears fell from my eyes. So many times I asked why. Because I didn't understand that these trials were not about me, but who you were shaping me to be, allowing my spirit to be free. So I thank you, God, for the rain. Helps me to appreciate the sunshine. When I feel I've lost my way, you let me know that you're still mine. And when I'm not feeling okay, you reassure me things are just fine. And I thank you for the rain. So I thank you, God, for the rain. Helps me to appreciate the sunshine. When I feel I've lost my way, you let me know that you are still mine. And when I'm not feeling okay, you reassure me things are just fine. And I thank you for the rain. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, I got a little response here um, from Tanisha. Really cool information here. Yeah, she's saying that she sent me an article just now that talks about how that the we've talked about this, the new system, right? There's two systems. Going to be the Babylonian system, which eventually is going to completely fall. Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, very very good. Yeah. So what it's saying here, I just read it. She just sent it to me. I had not seen this. This is really good information about the Texas, the Wall Street, what they're calling Y'all Street. Um, Y'all Street, like Y'all, Texas, and Dallas. So they last year we talked about this several times on the show how that we have a Wall Street here in called Y'all Street in Texas that Trump, the Texas uh, state of Texas has taken in, and he's saying that it's really bad for New York and Mondani, who's the new mayor of New York, because Texas is going to take away a lot of its investment because, well, different reasons, but mainly because Texas is a really good place, and Tanisha's saying right here, I think it means Texas is going to be in a good financial power, even though Trump is being negative about. Well, he's being negative about New York. I think he's saying that I listened to the article. It says that Trump is negative toward New York, saying that New York and Mondani are you know, bad for New York, and he's saying that the New York Stock Exchange, because the stock exchange, the markets, are right there in New York. I mean, the stock market, Wall Street is birthed in New York City, and so now it's been taken over by Mandani. Um, and so Trump is saying it's not good for New York because he's saying that New York is now Texas is going to take a lot of the investments from New York and it'll be put into Texas. Let me see if I can listen to that again. Make sure I get that right. To say I'm fired up about this one. Yeah, let me see if I can play it for you. Okay, let me see if I can play this. Let me get it to you word for word, so we don't mess this up. It's an article that Tanisha found concerning President Trump on the new system that's being raised up, the second system, as we are calling it. The system is going to basically save the globe and be used to give the competition to the system that we have now, which is being turned over to demons, to say the least. All right, I'm gonna play this, and you'll see what it says. I'm gonna try to quote it to you as I get it here. Uh, One of the guys on Fox Business came on and said, talking about Y'all Street in Texas, and now Trump is saying it's bad for New York. Yeah, it's going to make Texas hard to beat, and that a lot of the um, investments that have gone into the New York Stock Exchange are going to now go into the Texas Stock Exchange, which he's saying that it's good for Texas, bad for New York because New York, he's kind of critical on New York right now because New York is, has Madani, who is a Muslim, basically. So President Trump is commented on the New York Stock Exchange, Texas, called Y'all Street. Texas Mayor Eric Johnson, uh, Texas, yeah, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson said Dallas represents the future of capitalism. Right. And so, and they're finding that the article is saying that um, that people are calling uh, the Y'all Street in Texas the new one of the new the new extensions of the Wall Street in New York, and saying that um, he says it's a big test. Trump says it's a big test for Zoran Mandani, who is basically a Muslim leader of now of one of the biggest cities in the world, New York City. And more of it is launching in the second half of 2026. Yeah. So what they're saying is that Texas is taking over, and since it's bad for New York, it's he's saying Trump is saying that it's bad for New York, meaning that Mondani is going to really have a big test going on because he doesn't like Mondani, by the way. So he's saying the test is going to be for Mondani to be able to handle this. So very, very interesting. Uh, Yeah. So thank you, Tanisha, for that. That was awesome. Let me see if I can send that to myself so I can get it on here. Okay, let's go here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm going to click on it here and then we'll look at it. Um, all right, I'm going to get this right here. Our Mayor Johnson, the Texas mayor, is saying that this is really going to could mess up Mondani. Uh, Comes the day after Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson went on Fox Business and said it could be the beginning of the mass exodus from New York. Mayor Johnson feels that the low cost of living in Texas and easily accessible airports and the lack of state income tax makes Texas hard to beat. And so this guy is saying that the the financial hub of Texas. See, they're all talking about the center. Texas is going to become, along with Trump, going to become the biggest to the world pretty soon. I mean, you're going to see this all happen. It's going to all come about this year. So really interesting how that people are calling and they want to get out of New York because New York is now turning Mondani and in Dallas. They people are just following suit, and I can't believe they would let this happen. A big test for the new mayor. Yeah, he says it's a big test for uh, Zoran Mandani and the New York Stock Exchange opened operations in Dallas, Texas, and get a lot of competition. And it basically what it's saying is it's going to mess up New York. It could mess up New York, which is a good thing because of what's going on. So I see this as really good news and really awesome news. All right. Um, all right. Jayla says, good evening, Randy and PG and family. Thank you, Jayla. Good for having you tonight. Um, yeah, so we are looking at this. This is really good news. I was not aware that he said that. So it just tells you what's happening. They're talking about the new system. The very thing we're talking about tonight, the Revelation 18, which says, come out from among them, my people come out from among that system. And what are you going to do? You're going to have a new system. So this is what this is. This is the new system. It doesn't say they're starting a new system. What do you do when you come out of the old system? You got to eat. You got to have food. You got to have, you know, be able to process, your buy stuff. So how do they do it? They start a new system. And like Tanisha's bringing up here, the new Texas stock market, the New York Stock Exchange coming to Texas is giving Madani. It's going to give a good reason for the people to jump out of the New York Stock Exchange and make Texas the biggest stock exchange ever, maybe bigger than New York has ever been. Make it the most popular, most powerful because of what's happening in what the the laws and stuff that Texas has as far as taxes and all that uh, are going to make people want to come to Texas, just like Elon Musk. Where did Elon Musk go? The richest man in the world. Where did he go? New York? No, he didn't go to New York. He came to Texas. It kind of tells you that all the stuff we've been talking about for quite a while is actually happening. The system. The second system where you've heard nobody talk about. I've had people, like I said earlier, rebuke me time and time again. Randy, there is no second system in the Bible. I'm going like, you need to look around a little bit. It's right there, right in front of your eyes. So we have talked about that. If you don't know much about that, we will try to approach that. We're going to be talking about that again because of what's happening in Iran has to do with the system crashing, not just in Iran, but crashing all around the globe. And the support and the supply, instead of saying Babylon the Great is fallen, to say Tehran, Tehran, Iran, Iran has fallen, has fallen. That's what we're going to be saying, and it's going to cause all these other places to fall along with it because it's the head, it's the root, and when you cut the root, all the other things dry up. Even here in the United States, the terrorism things are going to dry up. Not that they'll be completely done. I don't know, but you see what I'm saying. So you got to get a hold of this thing and realize how important that this is. This is really, 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 really important. Really, really big. I would not be going on and on and on about it. It wasn't really a big deal. Thank you. Yeah, Sarah says God is really using you. Thank you for that, Sarah. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for using us. We're so thrilled. This is amazing. And when you start to understand why God spoke to me about it, because what has God spoken to me about? He spoke to me about the name of the Antichrist. Why? Because he wanted to identify him, connect him to Assad and all that. That was a new thing for me just a few months ago. I just kind of got that. I didn't realize that. He gave me the name of the Antichrist. He told me that the nuclear sites in Iran were going to be bombed and to be like an earthquake, which is exactly what happened. He told us at the same time that the Iran regime would be taken down through Azerbaijan. And when the Azerbaijan thing happened in May 2024, when the helicopter went down, killed the president of Iran in a town called Azerbaijan, in a region called East Azerbaijan in Iran. That's what it's called, Azerbaijan, literally. Look it up for yourself. It's all right there. And he was taken down on the Iranian side of a province called East Azerbaijan. Isn't that crazy? It's just amazing, man. God is just so good. And so, so you can see all the domino effect of how God's spoken to me and to us here at PGN about all this stuff and how that it's all kind of unfolded. I mean, this is major operational stuff. This is why they watch me. This is why they keep an eye on me. Not because they don't like me or they think I'm bad, or I think some of them think I'm bad. They think that I'm, notorious or whatever, but they thought Jesus was a blasphemer. So, hey, at least they're not calling me a blasphemer yet. Well, we will see what happens. But it's really, really exciting to know what's going on. And with the market and the second system, nobody's ever talked about that. As far as I know, nobody's ever talked about that. We're the only ones who ever talk about the second system. So God is good right here at PGN. We're announcing all this stuff at PGN. We're pioneering the way. We're not quote big. We're like little David with a little stone, little rock, taking down big Goliaths. That's what our job is. That's what we do. We take down the evil. We bring them down by the word of the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. God does. He shows me. I do what he says. No matter what it costs, no matter what it takes, we do it. And God wins. Right? Because the battle's already really won. We just have to get the information from the one who's won it. Right? And say what he's saying, do what he's doing, and we'll be fine. Great information tonight, Tanisha. Thank you for that. I was not aware of that. I did not know that had come up. All right, I'm going to tell her this. He is saying that it's not good for Mondani in New York. I'm not going to say all that. Sure, she's listening. She remembers response. Okay, awesome. Thanks for that info. And thanks for being on with us tonight. I think that's going to be it for me. If nobody else has anything they want to talk about or share or whatever. I wrote a new song about how I'm going to be traveling. A little bit different. We've talked about this a little bit before, but then we wrote a song about it. So I'm excited about it. I listen to my own songs over and over again because they just thrill me. I don't think they thrill too many people yet. Sometimes some of them do, but they thrill me and they build me up. It's one of the things that I use to build myself up is to listen to the songs that we write. And like Angel Flight is the last one where That's how we're going to travel. We're not going to travel by airplane only. We're going to probably, yes, we're going to be using airplane to have flights and that kind of thing to travel. But for the most part, as we travel for God, we're going to travel by angels or by being transported, however, whatever you want to call it, transported. So we have a song about that. Let's go ahead and play that song. Why not? All right, here we go.
I won't be traveling by airplane. I will be traveling by angel plane. Now down to earthly flight. Unlimited angels be my flight. I'll be traveling wherever he bid me go. By heavenly host, I want you to know. Not bound to wait around to board a flight. I'll be going places wherever I'm needed. I'll be going by heavenly transport. Whenever he's ready, I'll be lead. Heavenly destination. On earth is my reservation. Doing his work, no limitations. Angel flight, take me where he wants me to go. Anytime he's ready, that's where we go. Doing his bidding, evil we're getting rid of. Christ's power is power, so be it done. And he is the one by angel flight. It's all me right I won't be traveling by airplane. I will be traveling by angel plane. I'm out to earth and fly. Unlimited angels be my flight. I'll be traveling wherever he bid me go. By heavenly hosts, I want you to know. I'm out to wait around to board a flight. I'll be going places wherever I need it. I'll be going by heavenly transport. Whenever he's ready, I'll be lead. Heavenly destination. On earth is my reservation. Doing his work, no limitations. Angel flight, take me where he wants me to go. Anytime he's ready, that's where we go. Doing his bidding, evil we're getting rid of. By his power in this hour, so be it done. And he is the one by angel flight. It's all me right
All right, awesome. All right, y'all, it's been great tonight. We are focusing on the system crashing because that's what's happening literally before our eyes. That's why we're talking about it. So you'll be up on what's really going on. I know we could teach on, Mary Had Little Lamb, Lisa's White as Snow, and all that. But and that's good, get some good information. But we're talking about what's actually happening because that's what we focus on. And Tanisha says you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And really cool. So we are glad to be here to serve the body of Christ, to let people know that we're the watchmen on the wall, and we're here to protect you, watch over you, keep you. We may not always say everything you want us to say, do everything you want us to do, but we're going to do what God tells us the best we can. And we're here to provide for the body of Christ in a very special way. So we're thankful for that, and we're part of the new system. We actually prophesied the new system. I don't know about into existence, but we prophesied it before it started happening. We started talking about the second system, uh, which people still have trouble putting that into their fulfillment. Or where does that fit into prophecy? Having a second system. they think they're all going to be gone. So you know what I'm saying? It's going to be amazing to watch. All right, y'all. I think that's it. It's almost 10 o'clock. It's 9:51. Get off a little early tonight. If we have conversation, somebody wants to talk or share or ask questions or whatever, we will be glad to answer them all night long. But if we don't have any of those, um, I've shared stuff with you tonight that I think is important for what is happening. And so that what else can I do with that? Right? Revelations 18. Don't forget that. It's about a second system. Come out from among that system and come into what? Starve to death? No. Eat like kings with the new Texas U.S. system. Yeah, I don't know about eat like kings, but yeah. Anyways, still pretty cool, to say the least. All right. So that one. Yeah, that article is really cool. That really fits in with our message tonight too. Yeah, so that was really great. All right, we are thrilled to have that on our show tonight, and we gave you specific information about Victor Rothschild. Again, you just need to keep that in your thinking because that's going to help you understand how it's all going to unfold. Most people don't have a clue how the Antichrist and all that. They're just scared to death of it. They don't even want to talk about it. You know, so yeah, so but it'll all come about. It'll all happen. Yes, it will. Okay, y'all. Nobody has anything to say, anything to share. That's fine. You don't have to. We will call it a night. And yeah, if you haven't received your giving statements yet, let me know. Or if they're not right or something, let me know. They need to be corrected or adjusted or something. We'll do that. One person that gave them uh, more credit than they said they had, I'm like, okay, let me look at it again. They were right. So we fixed it. And yeah, so anyway, check it out. Let us know what you think. And we will work with it and get it all right and get it all done. Yeah. Okay. One of the things we shared, I'm going to stop now. One of the things we shared tonight was that why it's important to who gets the credit with for Iran. It's a lot of people involved. They want to involve everyone, right? That's part of the system. People is that they want to involve everyone, give credit to for the help and the prayers and of everybody. But the main root uh, strategists were Mossad, which is Rothschild, which is going to be their Messiah. You know that should happen. That's gonna. I don't know what is going to happen exactly, but it's real close. It's just really real close. You know, and I say real close. You know, a year or 2 years. It's not just like tomorrow, but okay. So there you go. And no questions, no answers, no anything. So yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. Okay, we got somebody with their hand up here. Sarah's got her hand up. Let's check this out. See what's going on. All right, Sarah, you get your hand up. Do you want to talk, or you just have it up by habit?
Yes, hello.
Hey, what's going on tonight?
Hi.
Hey, get some you.
Well, I
Yeah, go ahead.
just just wanted just wanted to comment on um who is it, the prince or something?
Yeah, the Prince of Iran, the Crown Prince of Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you I was just listening um about it, just kind of woo.
yeah. We've been talking about the Crown.
Um
We've been talking about the Crown Prince for a while. So yeah, he's been communicating. One of the cool things that they did, as far as uh, messing up Iran, the Iranian regime, is they got in on their television networks, where they run all their shows, and they
mhm.
and they took it down. They bugged it, and they put in the crown prince's messages preaching through the whole country, and they couldn't figure out how to stop it. It was so funny. That happened, I think, today or yesterday.
Wow. I know that was kind of embarrassing, huh?
It was and very frustrating. They just what's happening is it's a really big deal. We've talked about that tonight. How big of I can't express how big of a deal that this is. This is one of the most major bring down, of a system I think ever. They're saying it's kind of like when the Berlin Wall fell down. I think it's more. I think it's bigger than that, but that's pretty big. They're saying that. So the fact that PGN prophesied it, in May, specifically in May the 20th, 2024, and now, a year and a half later, it's actually happening. People thought I was crazy when I said that.
Oh, wow. Well, you're not. You're just being used by God.
Yeah, it just sounds crazy. It does sound crazy. It really does sound crazy. But especially if you know how big Iran is and how powerful they are, and how they usually stop anytime the people rise up. They just stop them. They start killing them and they stop them. But this time, it's for about 50 years they've been doing this, but this time was different. So when we saw the helicopter go down and with the president of Iran in it, we knew that was, to me, that was a trigger, because he had showed it to me back in 2007, 2008. He showed it to me way back then. And I shared it with other prophet people. They thought that they didn't think I was crazy, but they kind of went like, okay, yeah, right. And so all of a sudden we brought it up out of the blue. We brought it up, and the Lord said it's not going to happen. So it's happening. It's just mind boggling.
Mm, wow, it's just amazing how it's using you, and that when the different prophetic things comes about, people think you're crazy because it's
Yeah.
just the idea of you knowing all of that, and then God revealing it to you, and then they're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, right. You know, when is this going to happen? But
Yeah.
I've just been kind of wondering to myself, are the Muslims going to are they doing things to take over to if we don't submit to Sharia law or to what their way is going to be like in the end? Are they going to be destroying us and saying, okay, since you're not going to commit, then that's it for you as being a Christian?
Yeah. Well, if you're dominated by the countries that are dominated, like Iran is a good example of dominated by, you know Islamists and, Muslims. Sharia law is really big there, and so yeah, if you don't bow to them, they'll kill you or put you in prison and and they'll torture you until you give in. But the thing is, you have to watch and know. I don't know if you heard listen to the show when we talked about how that Texas a few months ago, Texas made a new law that the Muslims can't grow here and can't buy land in the United States. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So you're asking me a question. Will they kill us? Well, they would like to, but like we're doing here in the United States, like Trump is now, about the same time that the Texas governor made passed the law where the Muslim Brotherhood can't grow their buy land and property and take over, which is what they do. They got a lot of money. That's why taking out Iran is going to take out the money source, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it. So then Trump followed up behind the Texas governor and said, "Yeah, we're gonna work on that too." And I think what really scared him was when Mondani took over New York, when he won the New York mayorship. That really, I think,
Yeah.
awakened them to, we better do something quick.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah. So when they have power, when they have authority, if you don't like what they do with their when they come and they start buying land in Texas, they're very smart. They're not like us wimpy Christians. Oh, anybody can show up over here. We don't care who you are. we're just going to love everybody, and you're supposed to love everybody, but you don't let them come in and take over. You know, so what they've done is they come in and they take over land and property, and they don't let anything go on inside there except their stuff. In other words, they're doing things. They're creating their own government within a government. You can't do that. That's not right. But they've been doing it for a long time. So what Texas has done, and now Trump is finishing up on that, is stopping them from buying property and land, and they can't dominate. They can't take over a community or an area or you know acres and acres of land and then dominate it with their own rules and laws. Because that's like two kingdoms within a kingdom, and it doesn't work. So Texas is now stopping it as well as Trump.
That's awesome. And so in New York, I guess we really just have to watch and see what's going to go on in New York as far as like the governor there. Is he going to, be for the United States, or is he going to just turn things around and say, well, no, uh, I'm going to do some turnarounds here and there and make things happen the way I want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what's going to stop that? That's a really good question, because what's going to stop that? If you notice, Trump. I don't know if you were able to hear this news or not, but Trump comes out on the news before Mondani became elected, and he said, "We will stop you." And so what he meant by that was he couldn't change the election, but when he said we're going to do like Texas, and we're going to stop anybody in the United States, and New York is in the United States, right? So anybody in the United States cannot do the Muslim Brotherhood thing, and take over property and land. So right there, he stopped Mondani dead in his tracks. So when New York tries to rise up and say we're going to do this, he goes, "No, it's law now. You have to do that in some other country. You can't do it in our country." And that's what Trump did, and he did that right after Mondani, when they pretty well knew he was going to be elected. That's when Trump came out in Texas also and said, "We're going to stop you." So he's doing it by law. So if we get another president who turns that around, that won't be good. So that's the tough thing about electing presidents every 4 years, is that you get somebody like you know a Muslim friendly president, kind of like Obama really was. He was pretty much a Muslim friendly president. Uh, it created a lot of problems, and so if you have that coming in again, so we need a big change. Uh, Stopping it temporarily is only part of the answer, because like I said, in next election, when they hopefully one of our guys will win, but if they don't, wow, elections are really going to become a religious issue, because it's either the Muslims or the non-Muslims.
That's it. And we don't want to get to the point where they get it, and we just have to watch and see, and
Right.
pray.
Well, that's why we're talking about Iran being taken down right now, because when Iran's taken down, that weakens all of them, all of them.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't remove them all, but it weakens them tremendously, because Iran has been the head of the snake, as they say, or the octopus, to all these tentacles. They have been feeding it financially around the globe, and that's why this is so big,
Yeah.
that they are going after Iran, and that's why there's going to be I don't know how they're going to fight. The system's been being taken down by Mossad. Mossad is an intelligence agency from Israel that protects Israel. So they know Iran is one of the outspoken people that say we're going to kill all the Jews. So Mossad's been in there for a long time, working behind the scenes, and so they are the ones that are going to get most of the credit for Tehran being taken down. This is a really, 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 really big issue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot to look into, research, and everything. It's gonna be a powerful impact, especially for the U.S.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, and
we're just praying.
yeah, you're praying for President Trump. Yeah, and the fact that PGN, we are the only ones who prophesied this, the only ones, and in detail, we spoke specifically that now the regime will come down, and then now a year and a half, a little over a year and a half later, we did that on May the 20th, 2024, on the show. I even warned everybody. I sent a text out to everybody saying, uh, "Pray for me tonight because I'm going to share some things that could get me in trouble." And that's when I said Mossad was the responsible for taking down the helicopter that killed the president of Iran and a lot of his staff. And I gave him credit for that and told him that it's a sign that now Iran regime will be taken down. So we're the only ones. I mean, there was no way. I mean, everybody, every prophet has their specific things that they deal with. We deal with this kind of thing, and so it's the really big thing about it is that it's setting it for the Antichrist because Mossad is the Rothschilds basically, and they have when they start doing their campaign, what they're already doing on how they have saved Israel in so many ways. Israel's going to say, "We want you to be our king," and who could blame them?
Mm, wow.
And Benjamin Netanyahu has done a wonderful job, I think. Will be, either lose the. I don't know how they're going to make the exchange or change it all out, but they're going to have to change their government. They're going to have to go from being a democracy to a king, whatever you want to call it, a theocracy, a kingship, where Nathaniel will rule. Nathaniel will have the power to do whatever he wants. He won't have to go through all the political trash and stuff, and he'll be king. It's going to be amazing to watch.
Yes, it is. A lot of action going on. It's so much going on right now.
Yeah, your mama would be loving this.
Yes, she would.
She's in heaven going.
She would.
She's in heaven going. Man, I wish I could be there. That's the only thing that would make anybody who goes to heaven or who goes to heaven want to come back is when they're really into this stuff and we're getting to see it be fulfilled before our eyes.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Wow. There's so many things that since my mother's been gone that has been going on with the news and all kinds of things. Even before she passed away, it was like she was into God and Magog, what's going to happen with China taking, coming in and all of that,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
oh boy.
Yeah. And yeah, that's one of the main things that we talk about is the two systems that you hear no one talking about that I've ever heard besides us. Now Texas and the United States, raising up its own digital system, its own currency system, separate from the other system, and we have the satellite now to back it up to get it around the globe. Uh, that's the second system, and so um, the fact that we're going to see that happen is going to shock everybody because all the people who are pre-tribulation rapture and even mid-trib rapture say they're going to be out. They're going to be out of here for it because they believe there's not going to be any food to have. You'll have to take the mark of the beast. When I don't believe that at all. There's going to be the mark of the beast, but that's what Texas and what Trump is doing right now, and all the laws have been passed, and it's going to be engaged in September 20 this year. That's a fact. That's no longer a future prophecy that like we gave it in 2021. I started talking about all this stuff way back then. I remember one night you were on the show and we were talking about how that I didn't know how the satellite thing was going to work because how can we have our own satellite system? The satellites, I didn't understand it, and I said, well, we'll get these drones and we'll put our phones on a drone or something on a drone and get our satellite dishes or something, get it on a drone and fly the drone way up high, and we'll be able to communicate. I don't know if you remember all that or not, but because I couldn't figure out how in the world it's going to work, and now we know it's Elon Musk.
Oh wow! I kept saying I didn't know where I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Elon Musk has moved to Texas, lives in Texas, lives in Austin, Texas, in that area, and him and Trump are at it again and being buddies. They're trying to be real careful with that because when when Elon came in and helped the government, it caused him a lot of problems. Wow. And so they had to kind of change that real quick, and they did. They acted like they had a big fight. I think it was just like a fake wrestling thing, but either way, it worked pretty good, I think. So, but Musk and Trump are butting up, and him and what's the guy's name, Marco Rubio, are talking and having talks together publicly, about what's going on. So it's all working. It's all working exactly like we said here at PGN, just like the Lord showed us. Except I didn't know it was going to be Elon doing it. I did not have a clue. I just knew it was going to happen.
Wow. So many things going on, how God is using you
PGN.
in so many ways, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who all's talking what. I don't really pay attention to what other people are saying much. I have to focus in on. I don't even have time to listen to too much stuff unless it has to do with what we're talking about. But so I don't know what they're saying out there. I haven't heard anybody ever talk about the second system. That's that's going to blow people's minds, and we've been talking about that since 2021 specifically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, specifically. And so I don't know what people are thinking, man. That religious spirit, I call it a religious spirit that blinds them from, oh man, we're all going to die if we're going to be here. Where's that at? Yeah, people are going to die, just like they're dying in Iran. Iran's going to be a good example of the Great Tribulation, where, you're going to have people die. People are going to die. But it's also going to be, there's a lot of other things going on. A small percent of the population is dying, but the fact that a few thousand people are dying is horrendous. But compared to the millions and millions that live there, it's really a small amount when you think about it. And so it's going to be the same way for the Great Tribulation. People have this image that the Great Tribulation is, you know, 90% of the people are going to be dying if they don't take the mark. And they got it all wrong. That's not what it says at all. It says that there are going to be some deaths, just like in Iran, but it's a small percentage when you consider the millions that live there. Same thing in the Great Tribulation. It's going to be a small amount of people that are going to be dying. They will pay the price. They're going to have an antichrist, kind of like Kamini. You know, uh, it's a very good example of what the Great Tribulation is going to be like. So, but we win. We win, and so, but we do suffer. People do die. It is going to happen, and I've never told people everybody's going to be fine. I wouldn't lie about, we tell the truth about that people will die, but the percentage is going to be low compared to the amount of people in the world.
Yeah, I believe it. I really do. Yeah, we're gonna go through, and we're gonna win in the end. So that's what matters. That's what counts.
Yeah.
Is how everything ends up in the end. You know.
Yeah, we got to keep our eyes on what we try to do here at PGN is, we break tradition a lot on talking about this stuff, but that's just, part of our job. And so we're doing that very diligently. I think God's really been gracious to us to give us the strength to talk about that very upfront. And so, yeah, and letting people know that there will be people dying, but we've used the examples, like right now, I'm beginning to use the Iran example as what the Great Tribulation is going to be like. Yes, there are thousands and thousands of people dying, but they have, I don't know, what, 15 million people, or is it? I don't know how many Iran has. Let me see. Let me see here a second. How many population of Iran? Uh, let me do this. Over 9 million in the city, and around 14 to 16 million in the greater metropolitan area. So you're looking at, for one metro area, ranging up to 16.8 million, while the city itself is about 9 to 10 million. So you're looking at 16 million people, 16.8 million people in the metro area, while the city itself is home to 911. So you're looking at, we've had, you know, many thousands die. But when you break that down to percentage, as sad as it is, compared to 16.8 million people in the whole country, it's not really very many. One is too many, but the fact that the percentage compared to the 16.8 million people in that country is not very much. So it's going to be. I'm going to start comparing that, especially as we walk through what has been going on in Iran, comparing it to the Great Tribulation, that people will die. Be very sober minded, very upfront about it. We're not trying to fluff it and stuff it. We're trying to put it out there like it's going to be, and prepare people for it. You may have loved ones die. One of us could die. I mean, it's possible, but the percentage really is very low compared to the global population. But that's not what they try to tell you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said, praise God, we've got you. God is using you to alert the people and let them know, hey, we went in the end, but we're gonna go through. You're gonna go through some things, and just be ready for it and prepare. So now's the time to do it.
Right, right. Yeah, I wish, we've been unpopular in some ways because I'm not a pre-trib or mid-tribulation person like most people are pre-trib. I think probably 75% of the body of Christ, uh, Christians, are pre-trib believers. So when you tell them that's not going to happen, they do not like you at all. They think you're a blasphemer, basically. So that's part of the thing. But the thing is that we have to be faithful to God uh, with the sheep God gives us, and of course that word spreads around. And but yeah, so it has kept our message from being more popular. But what has gotten our message around is that we are very connected to the agencies that watch us, which they have confronted me publicly, as I've talked about many times on the show. It's not just me thinking that it's happening and I'm some delusional person. They actually approached me twice, uh, to my face twice, and not even counting the other things, and talked to me, and they were very nice, very a little bit aggressive, but nice. I'm a pretty tough guy, so you have to really be tough to make me angry at you. I'm just so used to it when I talk straight, they talk straight, and I just walk away going, yeah, we told them. We told the last group that happened in June of 2024, when they approached me in a business place, dressed in their uniforms. Uh, I sat down and talked to them, videoed it, some of it, and took pictures of it. And they got mad at me because the only thing I wanted to talk about was what was going on in Iran was about to be taken over. Well, now what do you think they're thinking? They're going like, man, that guy, we thought he was crazy, and it's all happening. So that God used that to spread the word among the agencies. We may not be getting our word spread as much as we like with the globe, but with the agencies, they keep up with what we say because we've had a lot of signs and wonders that they know more than you guys know, more than the PGN people know. They know more about what we've done here, what I have done, what God has used me to do on PGN by the word of the Lord. They know more about that than you guys know. I mean, they know, they watch it, they keep up with it. And so it's been hard for people to believe that because it sounds so crazy and we're so little, and how can that happen? But when you give specific words of information about markets way before they happen, and then and that's the financial realm. It's really big. And then I went into Romania and told the people in Romania, God's not happy with your president. 7 days later, he was being impeached. I mean, and nobody expected that. That was total off the chart. That put me on the list of watching me because they're an ally with the U.S. Romania is, and so it caused a lot of problems for that president a lot of problems. And I'm not even a political person at all at that time. And so it started with that in 2000, uh, 2000, what was it, 2007? I think it was 2007 when that went on. And I don't have the information right in front of me, but yeah, that started it. And then we got on their list, and then they began to watch us. And then pretty soon, a few years later, they're coming to me face to face, which I knew they were watching me anyway because they try to find out where I get my information. They don't. Where does this guy get this information from? Who's telling him all this stuff? That's what baffles them. They think I'm just like got some connection somewhere. You know, I tell them the truth, but they don't believe me. I don't think for the most part. So it's got us. And then in the last, and since 2024, June of 2024, and then about a few months ago, I had another visitation from. They come out right to me. They with their suits on. This guy had his suit on. He showed me his badge, and then a few minutes later, out comes this lady, a little African American lady, about 40, 45 years old. You know, nice looking little lady. I mean, she was, and she looked like a bum or a creep. She looked nice, a very intellectual, intelligent person. She walks up right up to me and says, "Well, if it isn't the notorious," and then whatever hit her, and I mean, it scared the living daylights out of her. And I didn't even know she was. They were coming to talk to me, or they just kind of show up. It's really cool. They just kind of show up. Man, they show up. And they come up to you, and you know, it's amazing. And so when that thing, whatever it is that hit that lady, which I never got to talk to her because she freaked out and walked away. You know, she was approaching me. I'd never seen her in my life, didn't know who she was. I knew she was with the agency, whatever agency, that particular agency. She didn't show me her identification, so I don't know what particular agency she was from. But when she approached me, like I said, she literally said to me, "Well, if it isn't the notorious," kind of a cocky thing, you know, kind of like, "Well, if it ain't the bad boy," you know. I'm going like, okay, and, and about that time when whatever happened to her hit her, it hit her pretty hard because she literally her lips turned white, she grit her teeth, her eyes went bug eyed, and her countenance completely changed, and then she just walked around me like real quick, and then I didn't pay attention to where she went. I didn't really care where she went. I walked out, left, got in my truck, and said, "Man, that was interesting." And so word like that starts spreading around. They start going, "She's going to have to report to those people who sent her, whoever they are, whatever agency it was." She didn't show me her identification. I don't know if I'd say, I don't know if I'd say which I didn't, what agency it is anyway, but she never showed me which one she was from. But I just knew they show up with the badge and they're official, and that's it. But so so that gets spread around. They start going like, "Man, you know, when she has to tell those people what happened to her, whatever it was that happened, I don't know. She just freaked out. Like I said, her eyes got big. She was looked like something hit her. It's what it looked like something got on her or something, or she saw something, an angel. So I don't know, because she never talked to me. But that's the kind of stuff right there starts spreading around. So we are more spread around the agencies, the global agencies, as we have been for a long time actually. But they've come out of the woodwork now and literally approached me in public. It's very interesting to say the least. So it's happening. It's happening. But most of the Christian world doesn't have a clue what we do. And most of them, if they came in and started listening to me right now, they think, well, you know, he's just exaggerating. He's talking. No, when I tell people, I say, "In Christ, I lie not." I'm telling you, it is exactly what happened. You know, and so it's hard to believe this stuff. This stuff is crazy stuff, but it's true. And so we're living in the time of, you know, uh, major operations going on, and we're right in the middle of them. We are right in the middle of them, and yet we're this little bitty, know nothing. Nobody knows really who we are. I mean, as far as globally, the people, the regular people, but we're affecting nations. We're prophesying, you know, nations coming down, you know, regimes coming down. We're prophesying that because by the word of the Lord, and it's happening. That's what's scary to these people, Sarah, is that they're watching what we said happen. That's why when I told the ones that came to me in June of 2024, and you know, with their uniforms on and sat down and talked, they were very friendly, as friendly as they could be. They were not really real friendly people, but they were friendly to me. And all I could talk about was how Iran's about to be taken down. And the guy got mad at me, you know, in a very professional way. He says, "You know, all you've talked about is Iran being taken down. What, you know, got anything else you want to talk about?" and I couldn't talk about anything else, Sarah. It was crazy. I couldn't shut my mouth about it. And so he got mad, got kind of got upset with me, frustrated. And but now, what do you think they're saying? What do you think they're saying now? They're going like they're all going, "Oh my God, that dude! We were, he was literally physically frustrated with me." And I can tell you his name, who he is, everything, but I'm not going to do that right now. But it was, that stuff is being spread around among the hierarchy of, agencies like, Mossad, CIA, the FBI, and our police force. It's We are well known. They know exactly who we are, where we are, and if I could tell all my stories, it would blow your mind about what they've done, and not being evil or being bad to me, but letting me know specifically and front facial front and vehicles, the other things I could talk about. To let me know, we know where you are, we know who you are. I'm going like, good, come over and have a cup of coffee, man. You want you to come visit, man? We'll have some donuts or something. I don't eat donuts, but maybe you guys like donuts. We could have a little, we could take communion together. That would be nice. But they don't. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away.
That's all right. Well,
It's happening.
you there? It's happening. It is happening.
Yeah.
So we just got to keep praying and be prepared when it does. It's going on now. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking out the time to go ahead and tell me more about it and get involved in what's going on.
Yeah. We don't we make all of our information public if I can, if I can talk about it, I do. We've talked about a lot of things that sometimes I was afraid that if I talked about it, I was going to get in trouble. And I didn't get in trouble, but they definitely made a move to let me know they were watching me. I mean, by literally coming where I'm at in uniform and sitting down and talking to them. I mean, literally. So it's not like I think I feel like they're somewhere around here. I don't know. No, they're like, meeting, we're sitting down and talking, and I'm getting videos of it. I'm just having fun, man. I'm just like having a blast. I'm going like, I wonder when I'm going to get to meet them next. I wonder when they're going to come and visit me again. That would be awesome. Let's see what all we can talk about next time they come. Anyway, okay, Sarah, thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you. Have a blessed night.
I appreciate you. Okay, thank you, Bobby. All right, y'all. It's been really awesome. We're going to call it a night. I think that was awesome. So hopefully you could hear that on the platform, the video platforms. I had my phone up to my microphone. Hopefully we'll hear that pretty clear. But if you ever want to call that number where we just were talking with her, it's should be right there on the screen. 214. 432-555. No, hang on a second. 432-888-8050. And you can call that number. And make sure I said that right. I have so many numbers, man. It's amazing. Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, 888-8050. And the ID on that is 1007. 1007 with a pound sign on the end of it. All right, 432-888-8050. And the ID on it, it will ask you for that. You put 1007, 1007 with the hashtag or the pound sign. Okay? So you can get on the phone call. You want to call me there. You can chat with me on chat, however you want to do it. Every Wednesday, we pray over everybody, prophesy over everyone. So, really cool, really exciting. All right, so we're going to call it a night tonight, and before everybody falls asleep and leaves their phone on and snores into their phone, which really sounds awesome on my end. Yes, it does. Okay, that's it. All right, good night, everyone. Bye bye.